G'day and welcome. Welcome to another episode of Life on the Lick Run. Now, it's been a while since I've done a lick run video because those of you who have watched the videos I've done already this year will know the story about that, how we've had a really big wet season and I couldn't get the lick truck around for a long time. We couldn't get any vehicles around for ages. The first part of the year because it was too wet to get around and the ground was just too boggy. So I've finally, this is the first lick run with the lick truck for the year, because then we run into problems trying to get lick. Our normal source of some of the ingredients dried up. They come from overseas, and so that just that sort of dried up at the start of the year as well. So we couldn't get any of the or some of the products that we put into the lick. So that was another reason why I wasn't able to do a lick run with the truck. I did a video back probably a couple of months ago, I suppose, putting some lick blocks out on the motorbike, because that was the only way I could get some lick out back when it was still too wet to drive around. So I was doing that for a while, and then yeah, so finally we've got the products that we need, mainly the phosphorus, the dissolvable phosphorus that we put into the lick. Finally sourced some of that a few weeks back, and so yeah, I've got that mixed, and so yeah, I'm ready to start putting that out. So I mixed a load this morning, and I decided I was sort of wondering what I was going to film for this episode. And so, as you might be able to see back sort of in the background here, there's a set of yards. So I decided that I probably haven't really showed this set of yards before on camera. So I said, well, why don't I turn the camera on and have a, we'll go and have a quick look at the yards and sort of, show everybody how they work and that sort of thing. So this is our other set of yards. So we've got the set at the house, and then this is our secondary set of yards, which is, I think it's probably close to 20 kilometers from the house here where we are. So this is what we call pine yards. A lot of pine trees around here, so we named these pine yards. I built these yards about probably 4 years ago. I think it was 3 or 4, yeah, probably 4 years ago. And so yeah, this sort of really makes running this end of the property a whole lot easier now with these yards here. So we just muster all the cattle in this area of the place and put them through these set of yards here. And then anything that needs to go, like to be trucked out or, go into sale or whatever, we truck them out of here back to the house yards, and then they go from there to market or wherever they're going. So we'll go for a quick look around here and we'll show how the yards work. So this is the loading ramp here. So we just pull the trucks. There's a turnaround out through the bush there, the road that comes around, and we just pull the trucks up here and load at this loading ramp. So we're inside the yards here now. So that's the race that leads up to the loading ramp. A couple of slide gates here. So this is the draft. This is what you call a race draft. So this is only a 4-way race draft. So somebody stands up on top there. Might be able to see the mesh platform there like that, and you stand up there, and those sticks up there are connected to the gates, and that big lever up on top is connected to this block gate here. So this block gate works backwards and forwards on that lever, and basically all that happens is the cattle just come up there from that forcing yard up through the race, and then you've got a bloke up on top and you just work them levers there like that, and you just You got these gates unchained when you're doing it, so they just swing backwards and forwards, and you just draft the cattle into these yards out the other side. So that yard is what's called the bush yard, which that's all where the cattle like that have got to be returned back to the paddock. They go back there. Then you've got calves. That's the calf pen yard, which they like there to be branded. So there's the branding cradle over there. This yard here is what you call a stranger's yard. So that's just like you know, other neighbours' cattle and that sort of thing that you get that come in through the mob that have to be returned back to the neighbours. So I'll just show what we do with that yard. So this is also this spot here also doubles as the approach for the loading race, but you just simply undo this chain and you just swing that through there that way, pull that gate out of the road, and then you've got that yard open there to go into to put the cattle in, you know, that have to return to the neighbours and that sort of thing. It's usually a yard that what you call a redraft, so you have to run them through again to redraft them to split up, you know, what cattle goes where type of thing. And then yeah, that's the race towards the loading ramp. And then this yard out here is what we call our weaner yard. So this yard is sort of a fairly big yard, and that yard is usually what's to be trucked back to the house yards. So they just come back around and go back up the race and then through here like this, and then they go up the loading ramp. So we'll just go down here, down the race. So as you can see, that's the draft from this direction. So you've just got this block gate that's what you work to block each beast, like each cow that comes through, you block that. And then as the next one's going through, like the one in that you've already let through, you've got your gates ready to just let them through as they go through one by one past this block gate. So this is going back down the race. You need a fairly long race. The longer the race, the better, because the cattle flow better if you've got a long race. So you need a slide gate at the start, so that if you've got, you know, a race full that's not wanting to go through properly or whatever, you can fill the race up and then block them behind there like that, and then you can empty the race one by one without them coming back out of the race. So this here is the forcing yard. So the cattle come down through, or they come, we originally bring the cattle through those big set of gates over there into this yard here, and then they go through a gate into that yard, and then we bring them up from that yard just a few at a time into this what's called a forcing yard. So with this little yard here is, you know, you've got that up your sleeve pretty much. So if you've got some cattle that you've got a pen full that you just want to put out of the road for the time being, you can just put them through that gate, and you've just got a nice little yard in there where you can just put them until you want to maybe redraft them or do something else. Maybe they're ready to be trucked and you just want to put them out of the road for a minute while you do some more yard work on the rest of the cattle. So and then you can simply open those two gates together, like this one here and that one there together, and run them through here into the forcing yard, and then you've got you know, they can be ready to be trucked out or whatever like that. So we might just go back over to the branding area now, and we'll show you the branding cradle. Okay, so we're back up here at the draft. We're just about to go out through into this bush yard. So this is the yard I was talking about, where all the cattle go into that have to be returned back into the paddock. So it's a fairly big yard. You need a quite a big yard for a bush yard. And then that was the calf pen yard that I talked about before. So the calves, you just bring a few at a time up into this forcing yard, little forcing triangle here like that, gate there, and then they come up through here. This is just what's called A-frame gates. So they just up there like that. They sit up there on a hook, and then that's your race for the calf cradle. So when you've got calves in the calf race, you just simply drop that down, and you got probably, you might have 4 or 5 calves in this bit here, and then this is your front pen here, which you've always got one calf there in that front box ready to go. So as soon as you take the calf out of there, so this is the calf cradle. Let's try and do this single-handed. So this is how that works with this is what's called a sword, and that just goes through, and then it can't come back because of this lever here stopping it. So that's how you put the calf in there, and this is how this opens here to let that calf through from that front box. Hope all this makes sense. It makes sense to me because we do this all the time. So and then as soon as you've got that calf in the calf cradle, you shut this gate again, and you've got somebody back here that simply just lets another calf through from that pen or from that part of the race into this front box. So you've got another calf ready to go when you're finished with this one. So when you catch the calf, you just lay that calf cradle back down, and that's got a tire. It's got a tire underneath there, so it's got like a bit of padding for when it drops on the ground. And then you've got the calf, it's laying there on its side like that in the calf cradle, so then it's easy to work on. So you just got the calf's head out here, it's its hindquarters out there, its back legs, all its back area out there, and you just got it's easy to work on this is what's called the head area. So you just got you do your ear marking and that sort of thing. Back here is where the branding happens, the castrating, all that. And then as soon as you finish, you only have a calf in the cradle for a few minutes each calf, and you're finished. And then you just drop this handle up, and you just flick that back, and then the calf just gets up itself and jumps out and runs away. So we've got you'll have this yard empty when we're working in here, so that all the cattle that were in this yard that are to be bushed, they go back into that yard back there, and then all the calves will be in here. So get them all together. Once you finish doing all the branding, they just go back with their mothers and go and have a suck. So this is the branding furnace here. This is a fairly old school sort of branding furnace. It's just a couple of 44-gallon drums put together, and you just put a fire in there, and the brands just sit here on this bit of wire, and they just heat up in there. So most people have gas operated branding furnaces nowadays, but we still have this old school setup where we just light a fire in the drum, and it just keeps the brands hot. Yeah, so that's the branding setup like that. So yeah, that's about it for these yards. Well, I hope all that made sense. Like I said, it makes sense to us because we know what we're doing. Like you can go to any set of yards, any set of cattle yards, and you know how they work, because you can just look at it and say, okay, that's where the cattle go through there, and this is how you do it. Whereas for somebody who doesn't know how yards work, it might have been a bit confusing, but that's why I sort of wanted to show that, just to sort of let people know how yards work. Like there's many different designs of cattle yards. you know, there's thousands of different designs. That design I just sort of drew up in a, you know, maybe a couple of hours or something. I just sat down and drew it up on a sheet of paper, because it was just sort of like, I just wanted a simple set of yards that I could put up fairly cheap, and you know, and still very practical. So it's yeah, there's different, like there's countless different designs. There's even different designs, like there's even different sides that you work on. So we work on one side, whereas other people work on the other side, if you know, if that makes sense. So you all your work area is on the opposite side, type of thing. So yeah, it's just whatever floats your boat. There's no right or wrong way about it. So yeah, rightio, I think we might hit the road again now. I'll just do a little bit more filming throughout the day. It's going to be a fairly full day. I'll do, you know, a full sort of day of putting out lick today, so I'll just do a bit more filming throughout the day, and we'll hit the road. So we've got a bit of a problem here. This is something that happens from time to time that I've never shown on camera. It's just, yeah, I never thought about turning the camera on at the right time. When you're in rocky country with a truck with dual wheels, now and again you'll get a rock stuck in between the jewels, because you're just driving along the road, you don't know it's happened. Like it's just a case of somewhere along the road, a rock the right size has slipped up between the jewels and then has got stuck there. So every now and again you need to pull up, check that you haven't got a rock stuck in the jewels, and I've just come through a gate here. I had a check of the wheels, and yeah, sure enough, we got a rock stuck in one of the jewels. So let me show you. You might be able to see, there's the rock stuck there like that, and it's stuck pretty tight. So there's no way of getting that out by hand. You either got to prise it out with a lever, which can be a really time-consuming job. Otherwise you can tie a chain around the rock and then up onto the tray like that, and then drive forward, and sometimes you got to do that a couple of times to work the rock out, but usually it'll just come out pretty quick doing it that way. If they're stuck really tight, sometimes you've actually got to take the outside wheel off. There's no other way of getting them out. That's if they're sort of stuck really tight, and there's sort of no other way of doing it. So I've just got the chain out here. That's the chain. I carry just a little short chain, especially for this job. So I'm just going to do that now. I'm going to tie the chain around that rock up onto the tray and then drive forward and see if it'll come out by itself. Okay, so we've got that hooked up. I'm just going to drive forward slowly and see if the rock will come out with the chain around it. Okay, so there's the rock, fairly decent sized rock too. So I'm just gonna put the chain away now and we'll get going. So I've been back to the house and filled up the lick tank again, and I've just pulled up here at another, there's a trough just here, so I'm just going to fill this roller up here. You might be able to see the grader there in the background. Yeah, I've just been spending a bit of time on the grader last couple of weeks, just grading up some of the roads, and still got a fair bit to go. All that area that we're in there this morning, that's still got to be graded yet, but I'll probably get onto that over the next week or so. So yeah, so no, it makes it a lot easier to get around if you got good graded roads to get around on. So just sort of been doing that in amongst doing all the other stuff. So yeah, that's probably about all I've really got to show on this one. Just wanted to sort of turn the camera on today, just since it's sort of the first lick run with the lick truck itself for this year. So yeah, just wanted to sort of show a bit of what's going on. So no worries, that's all for this one, and I'll see you in the next one. Thank you.